Guess who's back? The Best Bet Show, UFC 310 edition. We didn't have a UFC card last Saturday, so there was no Best Bet Show. I'm sure you all missed it. But now we got a pay-per-view. We got a fight night the week after to close out 2024. I couldn't be more excited for the next 2 Saturdays to come. I'm flying out to Vegas tomorrow morning, and then I will be in Tampa, December 14th, for the final card of the year. Boots are on the ground. It's going to be a great time. Now, I don't have every single one of my bets locked in just yet because I'm filming this earlier in the week than I normally would. But I do have about 6 bets locked in. I picked 3 of them to share with you right now. And I will also share with you my DFS plays, which if you tailed the DFS plays and UFC Macaw, the last UFC card, you made some serious coin. As always, we're going to go through the results of the prior week before we get into the Best Bet Show, just so you can gauge a little bit where we're at with everything. But the Parlay Bet was a doozy. Over 2.5 in the Reach of Yan fight, easy money. But Quang Le and Zhao Long just couldn't do it for us. It was looking like it was because it was a scrap, but Quang Le just got chinned, and Zhao Long got his first KO in a very long time, and his last KO was actually against like an 0-0 fighter. So all of a sudden, Zhao Long's got some crazy hands. Took an L on the Parlay Bet, and then I literally sat in this exact same spot. I said on the Best Bet Show, it's on camera. I said, the only way this fight doesn't go over 2.5 rounds is probably some type of spinning wheel kick from Muslim Salikov. And what did he do? Spinning wheel kicked Song Kanon into another dimension. So I don't know if that was a jinx or if that was just a 1 in 100 chance of Salikov landing a spinning wheel kick. It happened. So we lost the over 2.5 rounds on that play. We take the L there. Those were the only 2 bets. So overall, we missed both of our bets there, but we did absolutely cash in on the DFS plays. Okay, we hit the 20Xer right here, $100 into 2,000. We hit both legs here, or both plays here, $200 into 600, $200 into 600. So in total, that's a 20X payout, a 3X payout, and a 3X payout right there on Underdog Fantasy. And we also hit a 99X multiplier on Betr Picks. We swept the entire board on DFS. DFS has been my money maker this year. And I would very much encourage you to watch these portions of the video that are to come when I give you the DFS plays for UFC 310. Because this is my bread and butter right here. Okay, so a 99X multiplier right there, and 2 more 3Xers. Swept the board. In total, you're what, 120X plus 4 3Xers? 132X your money? Whew. Yeah, you're going to want to watch that throughout this video. I'll let you know the plays for this week in this video. I also got the links down in the description for you to sign up so you can put these plays in. The best bets record overall, I do not count the DFS plays because not everybody can access them. So me being a fair guy, I don't really feel like it would be ethical for me to count them on the Best Bet Show because, it is what it is. But overall on the show, we are minus 8.22 units. I will be very transparent. The last 3 to 4 weeks have been brutal as far as the straight picks go. The straight bets, the parlays, just been brutal. I just can't get the monkey off my back. Okay, maybe it was the nice little week off to just reset and just crush these last 2 cards. But, that's part of betting. You're going to have ups and downs. Hopefully this down trend starts to leave me here and we can cash out on these last 2 cards of the year. But the DFS has always been staying consistent, and last UFC card, we absolutely crushed it. So let's get into it with the bets this week. We got a parlay. Should be easy enough here. Okay, Movsar Evloev. I think he's got Aljamain Sterling covered in every aspect. He should beat Aljo. He's got better striking, better wrestling, probably better scrambles, probably more durable. I think he wins this fight. I think he's at minus 250. I don't think it's too bad. We throw it in a parlay with Alexandre Pantoja. He's got all the advantages in this fight, okay? He's a UFC champion who's beat every one of the top 10 flyweights, or at least the ones that he's faced. Great grappling, great cardio, great pace, solid power on the feet, solid striking. Much higher level of experience. Fights, has fought in Las Vegas before, has fought in the octagon many a times compared to Kai Asakura, who has not. I think this is a great spot for Pantoja to look great. Now, hopefully I don't jinx myself again, but I think the only way that he loses is some type of flash knockout, which would be like a jumping knee or some step back counter right hand. But Pantoja, knock on wood. I don't know how many times I've said that this week, but knock on wood, never been knocked out, never been submitted. So I think Pantoja rolls here. Minus 105 on that parlay. I'm putting 2 units on it. Lock it in. And from here, we will move on to the Underdog Fantasy Plays. Okay, we're positive 59.52 units year to date. And that's not counting these slips. That's not counting these 5-leg slips, which I believe I have hit 5 or 6 of these 5-leg slips, which are 20x payouts each. So let's just say it's 5. You'd be up 100x. You do 1 a card. There's less than 50 cards on the year. You do 1 a card. You made some serious coin. So if you're in one of these highlighted states, there's a link in the description to sign up on Underdog. Use my code HeyJob. You'll get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. And this week, if you are a new customer, you will get a special of Alexandre Pantoja 0.5 significant strikes. It's free money. You sign up. You get your deposit bonus. You get the free special there on Pantoja. And you can put these plays in, okay? 20x payout right here. We got Lukasz Dreski, lower on significant strikes. Kennedy Nzechukwu is a very long, tall guy. He's not going to be easy to hit. And I think Kennedy Nzechukwu probably should knock him out in the first or the second. Dreski has not looked very durable. He's not really UFC level, to be honest. And I think Kennedy should be able to finish him. And I think Dreski, even if he doesn't get finished within the first or the second, he's probably not going to be landing a ton of volume on Kennedy, who's a tall, long guy. He's going to be tough to hit. Joshua Van, lower than 84.5 significant strikes. Now, I've been a very big believer in a Joshua Van over on significant strikes in his career. But this is a spot where the line is just too high. We have to take the lower because the fight could end early. Cody Durden has been knocked out. He's been submitted. Joshua Van has also been knocked out, has also been submitted. So I think the fight could end early. And even if it doesn't, Cody Durden will probably be having some wrestling success. Cody Durden's going to be looking for takedowns. And if Joshua Van is on his back, he is not landing significant strikes. So there's many paths for Joshua Van to go lower than 84.5 significant strikes in this fight. That is the play. Max Griffin, lower than 43.5 significant strikes. Michael Chiesa does not get hit. Okay, he literally runs around the cage. His significant strike absorption rate is very, very low, and Max Griffin is not a high-volume striker. And if Chiesa is having success in this fight, he will be getting takedowns, and this fight could end early. Chiesa could sub Max Griffin. Max Griffin could knock out Michael Chiesa. So lower than 43.5 significant strikes, lock it in. Kron Gracie, lower than 38.5 significant strikes. He went the distance with Charles Jourdain his last fight, and he only landed 32 significant strikes. Okay? I actually believe Kron Gracie could submit Bryce Mitchell. But even if he doesn't, Bryce Mitchell's significant strike absorption rate is very, very low, usually because he's getting takedowns, getting top pressure. I think Bryce Mitchell will probably resort to what he always does, and that is look for takedowns, look to grapple. If he does that, this will turn into a grappling match, and Kron Gracie will go lower than 38.5 significant strikes. The fight could also end early. This line is based on the fight going to a decision, which we leave ourselves some upside for the fight to not go to a decision by taking the lower. Vicente Luque lower than 45.5 significant strikes. Another fight where Luque is going up against Themba Gorimbo. Themba Gorimbo only gets hit with 1.07 significant strikes per minute. Very, very low significant strike absorption rate. Why? Because he gets into the clinch, he gets takedowns. Vicente Luque is a shell of himself. He's not going to go in there looking to slug it out in the pocket and land a ton of volume. Okay, he's probably going to be skirting around the outside. That's what Themba does. Then Themba gets into the clinch, looks for takedowns, and from there, there's going to be a good amount of grappling that I assume is going to happen. Luque is not going to rack up a ton of significant strikes in this fight, and even if he starts to do so, Themba is going to be looking for the takedown. Also leaves us upside for the finish in this fight. Themba could knock him out. Luque could sub him. Luque could knock him out. You never know. So lower on Vicente Luque, lower on significant strikes there. 20x payout. Let's take a look at these. Ian Gary, higher on significant strikes. I don't believe Shavkat is going to finish him within the first 2 or 3 rounds. I just don't really see it happening unless he finds a great position on the ground. I think Ian Gary will look to strike from range, chip away at him, use his footwork, and I think he should be able to rack up 60 significant strikes here within the first 2.5 to 3 rounds. So I like Ian Gary higher on significant strikes. I also like Cyril Gane higher on significant strikes. He is a very, very high volume guy, uses great footwork, chips away from the outside, lots of teeps, lots of low kicks, and a solid jab. He should be able to skirt around and piece up Volkov from the outside. Volkov is a very stationary target, and I don't really see much of a upside for a finish in this one. I don't think Gane's going to knock him out. I don't think Volkov is either, and I don't really see Volkov having a ton of grappling success. So I like the over or the higher on significant strikes for Cyril Gane. That's a 3x payout. We already talked about Joshua Van, and I like Anthony Smith to go lower on 37.5 significant strikes. Anthony Smith, not a crazy high volume guy, can be a bit gun shy. This fight, I think, could end in the first round, whether it's Anthony Smith knocking out Dominic Reyes or Dominic Reyes knocking out Anthony Smith. And if anything, Anthony Smith might want to get some grappling going in this one. So if this turns into a grappling fight, he's not going to be landing a bunch of significant strikes. So I like lower on Anthony Smith there, and that's a 3x payout as well. Once again, if you're in one of these highlighted states, download the Underdog app. There's a link down in the description. Use my code HeyJai for a deposit bonus up to $1,000 and get the Pantoja special, and we can move on to a round prop bet. I like the under 2.5 rounds here on Joshua Van versus Cody Durden at plus 100. I put 1 unit on it. Cody Durden can get submitted. He can be knocked out. Joshua Van can get submitted. He can be knocked out. I also believe Joshua Van's activity is going to be his downfall ultimately. You know, he got knocked out by Charles Johnson in July. He fought again in September against Edgar Shirez. That was a war. He got hurt in that one badly at one point. He also had Shirez hurt. But Joshua Van is a dangerous striker on the feet to where he could absolutely knock out Cody Durden. But at the same time, he's a guy that has to take a lot of damage to inflict his damage. Cody Durden can crack on the feet. He can get takedowns. He can get to the back, and he can find a submission on Joshua Van. And even if Joshua Van's not a terrible grappler. Like, he's probably going to be looking for some type of submission here if they do get into some type of grappling match. So I like the under 2.5 here. I just think there's way too many ways for this fight to finish to not play an under 2.5 at even money. So 1 unit, lock it in. And let's move on to where I'm going to tell you where you can get all my bets this week for absolutely free. You're going to go to the link in the description, the home of Fight Picks Winnable. You're going to click the button. It's going to bring you to a checkout page. You're going to enter code 310. And you're going to get a 5-day free trial. That's going to get you every single one of my bets for UFC 310. And I also have a 7-unit play on UFC Tampa that has already been posted. I posted that last Saturday, I think it was, or maybe last Friday. So big bet for UFC Tampa is in there. You're also going to get all my bets for UFC 310, and you'll probably get some of the bets that I have after this card for UFC Tampa as well. On the year, we're positive 25.39 units year to date on sportsbook bets. That's just straight bets, parlays, props, And daily fantasy, we're positive 59.52 units year to date. Now, I give you the daily fantasy plays here on the channel, but the most important part about that is you're going to get the daily fantasy plays as soon as I put them in. So I sent them out 2 days ago to the members of the premium channel. And then the lines will shift. So you're not going to have to deal with these lines shifting later in the week when I give them out for free, but you're going to get them at the exact line that I put them in. So there's no room for error. You know, if a line moves from 59.5 to 49.5 and I take the lower, then that's a decent amount of difference. You know, like you could go over 49.5 but still go under my 59.5, and you lose out on a winner right there. So that is important. Link down in the description to join. Use code 310 for a 5-day free trial to the Home of Fight Picks Winnable. You'll get my bets. You'll also get Nolan's bets as well in there. So you get 2 cappers for the price of 1, which is a free price. Decent little deal there. Let's move on to a round. It's not a round prop. It's a prop bet. Okay, please forgive me. I don't have the best slides this week, but it's a prop bet. We're taking Bryan Battle by sub. We're taking Bryan Battle by sub at plus 500 odds. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the plus 500 next to the submission prop, because Bryan Battle has 9 finishes in his pro MMA career. 9 finishes, 2 decisions. Of those 9 finishes, 5, so over half of his finishes, are by submission. Randy Brown has 5 professional MMA losses. 4 of them come by finish. 2 of them come by submission. Now, Bryan Battle's KO prop, I think, is about plus 220, plus 250, somewhere around there. He just had a KO in his last fight. So maybe that's the reason it's where it is. But I think Bryan Battle, even if he hurts Randy Brown on the feet in this fight, he's probably still going to have to finish it off with some type of submission. I think if this fight hits the ground, he is super live for a submission. Randy Brown had his back taken his last fight against Alizo Zaleski dos Santos and probably should have been submitted in that fight. If Bryan Battle gets that position, I believe he finishes it at plus 500. It's worth a quarter of a unit to me. Lock it in. The prop bet this week is Bryan Battle by sub plus 500. Get it done for us, Butcher. Let's move on to the better picks plays. As I showed you earlier, we hit the 99x payout on better picks on UFC Macau, China. We've also hit a 50x multiplier earlier this year. Those 2 alone would have made you some serious coin. So if you're in one of these purple states on this map, download the Better Picks app. Use my code AJIVE for a deposit bonus up to $250. There's a link down in the description to join. And once you do that, you can put these plays in. We're going for the 100x multiplier once again. We already talked about Lucas Dresky. We already talked about Max Griffin. Already talked about Joshua Van. Already talked about Vicente Luque. We already talked about Kron Gracie. We already talked about Anthony Smith's lower. We already talked about Ian Machado Gary's over. We're also going to throw in Clay Guida under 25.5 significant strikes. Reach disadvantage, not a high volume striker. Chase Hooper looks a lot better at lightweight. In reality, he probably finds a submission win here. The fight's probably going to hit the ground relatively quickly, and Chase Hooper is the better grappler. He's probably going to be able to finish Clay Guida within the first or second round, at least as a minus 1,000 favorite. He probably should be able to do that. I don't believe Clay Guida is going to be going out there landing a ton of volume on Chase Hooper. So that is the 8-leg play for a 100x multiplier this week on Better Picks. And we already talked about these over here. These are just 2-leg 3x multipliers. Max Griffin lower, Lucas Dresky lower, Vicente Luque lower, Kron Gracie lower. As you can tell, we like to usually take the lower on significant strikes because it brings you the upside for an early finish that you just don't get with an over. Sometimes the over is the right play, but the unders are usually ones that I like to play more than an over. Once again, If you're in one of these purple states, download the Betr Picks app, put these plays in, use my code HAVE when you sign up, and you can put these plays in for free with your deposit bonus up to $250. Link down in the description. And finally, I will offer to you to join the free Telegram. As you can see by the image on the screen, I'm going to give you some free plays here and there, and I gave out a pretty easy 2-leg parlay for PFL on Friday. Cashed with ease. Taleb got a KO, and Tamir Hizrayev pretty much 50-45. Brendan Loughnane. So that was just an easy little minus 122 parlay. We got it done. And I will also post my long shots in there. I'm going to Vegas, so I'm probably going to have some degenerate action out there. I'll make sure to throw that in the Telegram and let you guys know what I'm playing. So hopefully we can cash in big. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you for watching. Please like the video for me. Hit the subscription button to the channel if you haven't already. We'll be in attendance. So if you're there in Vegas, hit me up. Maybe we'll chop it up. Maybe we can put a parlay in together. You never know. Good luck to you. Enjoy the fights. We'll be back here next week for UFC Tampa. Till next time, HAVE Picks.